It's Kenna. I have Tito here. We're getting ready to give him a low shadow fade, and then we're gonna do like a mid to high taper. On the top, I'm enjoying the middle part that he has going and keeping his natural direction and flow of his hair. So I'm gonna try to accentuate that through styling and add some texture throughout his layers. Let's get into it. So I'm gonna start with my Babyliss Low Pro FX clippers. These are the Nicole Renee version. I'm gonna start with my 5 guard because I can tell his hair is longer and it's dense. I do wanna keep his shape here. I like that he has a stronger shape. It's not cut super short and flat to his head. I'm using this 5 guard to set my foundation. Because I haven't cut Tito's hair before, this is helping me see which way his hair is growing, which way it's moving, the direction, his density, his bone structure underneath, as well as any patterns that he'll have as far as colics, while also preserving the silhouette that I want to keep. After using my 5 guard, I am going to skip down to my 3 open. Because I'm fading in a smaller area, because I'm keeping it lower on his head instead of having the whole canvas here to work with, I'm really only working with this part. So I'm gonna start guard skipping, and that's gonna allow me to make a transition a little bit quicker because that area is so much smaller. Now I'm going to be moving to the 1.5 after I did my 3. Really making sure to flick out. I don't want to create a new line. I don't want to go too high into the 3 that I just did. The main goal here with the fade on the sides is to really pull his silhouette in tight here. As you can see, it's starting to form straighter to his head and taper in. So I'm gonna fade this a little bit, and then this is gonna be a nice clean skin taper. Now that I've set my base around the side, and this is gonna create my foundation of what my haircut shape is going to be, I'm gonna go through into the taper lines and I'm gonna clear those out. I like to go through and start edging up where his natural hairline sits. That way I know what I'm working in. When I have tapers in the back especially, I really like to see this line stay sharp and have a nice clean line here. So I'm gonna create that, and then I'm gonna go back through and I'm gonna work my fade into the structure of where that edge up is. His hair pattern here, I see that it grows stronger back this way. It's not growing towards the lineup area. And with a little bit of the extra hair that's there, because it's growing this way, if I comb this way, it's gonna pop those hairs out. I'm gonna be able to trim those. And that's gonna help make sure that those hairs aren't going to overlap and lay over my lineup. Because when that happens is when they start to sacrifice the cleanliness of that line. I have my 1 guard here. I'm gonna start blending out his taper area. While I have my 1 here, I'm going to blend out the back as well. I have my no guard open. This is going to be the bottom length that I use along his edge up line here. And that's going to give me that shadow effect while still allowing me to have his edge up line. And I have my no guard open. I'm blending out the line for the taper. Here I'm just doing some clip over comb to lighten up this area behind his ear. I'm making sure the bottom length is here and the top length I'm trying to connect is at the teeth. And then I just meet in the middle and I remove anything that's in the middle. So right now I have my 2. This is when you'll see me go in between my guards that I didn't use earlier. Going down like this with the clipper is almost like a way to freehand. So it's a cool little trick I like to use if on this area of his head the hair starts to grow more straight out rather than down. Going lightly, I can use control to get those hairs exactly where I want them to be. I still have a little bit of the shape there, but I'm going to use that in styling to lift onto, and I'm going to build this hair that's on top onto that piece.
Like a tutorial and interview.
Exactly. So Tito, I know that you're in the 6-figure mentorship group. What has that experience been like for you?
That experience was awesome. I joined the 6-figure mentorship maybe about a year and a half ago. At the time, I was in a suite joining the mentorship. It definitely, I would say, gave me more of a direction. The tools that they gave me to track my numbers, I think that was probably one of the bigger factors in growth, right? Because if you don't know your numbers and you're not gamifying the data.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I feel like a lot of barbers, we don't keep track of that. We just go home and we know that we've done X amount of haircuts. You know, we have cash in our pocket.
Exactly, yeah. Or we just think about how many haircuts we did or how much we were able to get out of that one client, but looking at it, I made this much this week, so I've challenged myself to make more the week after or the month after. Yeah, I think that's definitely something that's helped me a lot. The group too, you know, when you're able to talk about the challenges that you face with other people who have the same goals in mind. Because I feel like I've been in shops before too where not everybody was on the same growth mindset.
And that's hard.
Yeah, yeah. So even if you don't have that around you in the shop that you work in, I think having that group, you know, through our Discord chat is definitely it's a huge thing. The calls, being able to, you know, just discuss what you're going through.
And having that community and belonging with people that doesn't matter where you live or, you know, where you're located. It shows you that there are other people that are just like you.
Yeah, the network that I built and the relationship I had with Jordan specifically was kind of my plug to get into the Headlines Barbershop.
Oh, wow.
Brand. So I started there on Thanksgiving Day. It was just a super last minute thing that I didn't know for sure if it was gonna go through, but you know, just with the relationship that we had built already with a lot of the guys, you know, in the mentorship. He's only been here 2.5 months.
You're trying to create longevity in their haircut so their haircut lasts longer. And in their eyes, they're like, wow, I'm gonna spend less money. Like, they must really value me if they're willing to do something that might, you know, sacrifice money on their end. So you said the mentorship provided community, knowledge in tracking your numbers and having that peace of mind of knowing exactly where your numbers are at so that you can not only know them, but then you can use tracking your numbers to scale and grow based on previous days, previous weeks, previous months, you know.
Yeah, you create a competition against yourself.
Yes.
That's really fun. And then, you know, you talk to other guys who are in the group. Yo, I just had a $3,000 week, a $3,500 week, and it's like, okay, what can I do to catch up to that? Because I want to make that kind of money, you know.
Yep.
I always say if you're the best person in a room, then, you know, it's probably not the room for you, right? So
I agree.
I feel like that just expands your room.
It's a great way to look at it. It's a good perspective. Because it's like not only do you have competition against yourself, but you're also competing against your peers in a healthy way.
In a healthy way, yeah.
And that's where I think it's most important. There's so many times I've experienced being in environments where I'm trying to better not only myself, but all of us, and it gets kind of taken the wrong way. And I feel like that's a really hard place to be in.
Yeah. One of the mindset shifts that I had to make was annual customer value.
I love that.
So instead of, you know, if I have a client that pays me, I don't know, $100 compared to someone who will consistently pay a regular $35, $40. But if they can come every week, you know, more often, when you compare what a customer can actually be worth throughout the year, right? And then you look at all those customers like building blocks to get to that annual income that you want to be at. I think that's one thing that definitely
is an important change that you found.
Yeah, that was a big mindset shift. I feel like I'm a better barber than I was last year. But when you track your numbers and you know how booked you are, you have data to back it up. In times past, if I would have gone up by $5, it wasn't because my demand was higher, or it was just because I felt like making a little bit more money per cut.
So now I'm gonna wet it down and I'm gonna start attacking the top. It's very important to fully saturate the hair. This is gonna make sure your tension and everything is even and consistent.
I think what it is too is I see so many, it's like, obviously like if you're a great SMP artist, you're a great SMP artist. I've just seen so many people that have had bad jobs. I'm like, oh man, like, just making a lot of money being a barber, and then if you want to pursue other things, you can take that fork at that time, but it takes a lot of time away from being at the barbershop.
Yeah. So really my goal here with the front is I've combed it, I've saturated it. I have my parting here from his dominant growth pattern to the recession. This is the top that I'm gonna be working with, and then everything I do is gonna make sure that it connects to the sides because I set my perimeter around the outside. So I'm gonna take a horizontal section, hair is saturated, and I'm gonna take that section. That's gonna be my guide. There's my guide, and that's where I'm connecting to as well. Comb that section back, get it out of the way, and now I'm going to do the same thing. About a 1-inch section, including my guide from the side. And I also want to go back and do some point cutting, so I'm also preserving some length for that, including my guide from the side. Now when I'm at the apex, I'm going to start over directing back because this is where I want to preserve the length in the front. But I just want to lighten those ends. When you cut something blunt, it's going to lay onto itself, whereas when you start point cutting, it's going to mesh in and it's going to link up with the hairs that are next to it. While I have his hair damp before I blow dry it, I'm going to be adding some 245 indestructible clay. It has hold and it's a matte finish. This is going to allow me to give him a movable hold. It's going to give me some grip in his hair. For when I'm styling, I'll be able to move the pieces where I want, and then to get it exactly where I want it to be, I can keep moving it around. It's not going to be heavy. It's not going to be the end all say all. It's not going to be one place and that's it. Letting my body heat loosen up the product and make it easier to move around within his hair. I'm making sure that it's fully saturated and evenly distributed. I like the 245 indestructible clay because it's not heavy, it's not greasy, it's easy to wash out. Throughout the day even, he can keep moving it and molding it around to where he wants it. And as a barber, one of the things that I hate is using a product that stays on my hands and is not easy to get off because we're trying to be efficient. Time is money, and I like to just be able to put alcohol or something on my hands, wipe my hands off, and get back into the same client and do the work. A big goal of mine here is going to be volume, and then I want these pieces in the front to hang down and curl back. So I'm going to make sure I go in with my OP vent brush and I'm going to lift at the root and I'm going to dry it so it's up, and then I'm going to curl it back so that it folds into the back. I'm happy that we kept this shape. I think it goes with the round of his head, and I'm going to curl kind of in the front, but really the main goal is to keep volume.
Damn it, Tito. Another one?